I just obtained this new surveillance video from the Orleans Parish DA's office showing some of the escaped inmates from the Orleans Justice Center walking in the CBD. Take a look at your screen there. It shows the inmates walking in an alley near Barone Street just after 2 a.m. This is on Friday. That's about an hour after the jailbreak happened.
I'm sure a lot of you guys will remember this video of the jailbreak where 10 inmates escaped from a Louisiana jail. Well, there's an update to this. Now, we always talk about how law enforcement, well, they're the real criminals. Well, sometimes we just don't know how far up that goes. Let's check this out, and then I'm going to give you an update on this situation that may surprise you.
Hunt after a stunning jailbreak in New Orleans. 10 inmates escaping, some charged with murder, all considered armed and dangerous, and authorities tonight investigating whether this was an inside job. Here's ABC's Maria Villarreal.
Tonight, these stunning images from inside a New Orleans jail cell where 10 inmates, some charged with murder, escaped, sparking an urgent citywide manhunt. The toilet dislodged from a cell wall, exposing an opening. Scrawled on the wall above, "We innocent and too easy," with an arrow toward the hole where they escaped, out of view of the officer on duty. Authorities say it happened just after midnight when the inmates broke a lock on a cell door.
They were still able to exit the jail about 1:01 a.m. after breaching a wall behind a toilet in the jail. And based on video surveillance, they were seen exiting a door on the docks where we normally bring in supplies, scaling a wall and running across the interstate.
Officials believe the escapees had help.
These detainees received assistance in their escape from individuals inside of our department.
They say the toilet could not be removed with bare hands, suggesting someone inside the jail system may have helped the inmates unscrew it with a power tool.
We are investigating that to see exactly who entered these areas, what kind of work was done, if there was work being done, and if this is an inside job.
Jail officials first noticing the inmates were missing during a routine head count at 8:30 a.m. But that's more than 7 hours after they say the escapees were off prison property and on the run. One of the 10 escapees captured before noon found hiding beneath a car at a hotel in the French Quarter. And moments ago, a second suspect caught, with 8 more still on the run. With local schools and universities are on high alert, adding more security on campus and at graduation ceremonies. With this urgent manhunt underway right now, the FBI and the U.S. Marshals also joining in this search.
One of the telltale signs to find a guilty officer or a guilty deputy is to see if they're throwing the other guys under the bus, like this sheriff. She's throwing her deputies under the bus, stating that they helped these inmates escape. Why was she so quick to do that? Because it's not typical in law enforcement. They usually back each other, unless there's something pointing towards one of them to make them point at the other. And that's exactly what happened. Check this out.
Was booked into and released from the Jefferson Parish Jail tonight, indicted on 30 felonies.
Most of the charges allege Sheriff Susan Hudson failed to do her job and keep inmates behind bars related to last year's jailbreak. Andres Fuentes spoke with a crime watchdog about what's next for the sheriff's office.
But we start with Jennifer Crockett, who is live at the Jefferson Parish Jail in Gretna.
Instead of running the Orleans Parish Jail tonight, Sheriff Susan Hudson turned herself in here to the Jefferson Parish Correctional Center in Gretna. She's since bonded out, but that's as the Attorney General's office continues to build a case against the sheriff.
Wednesday, the Attorney General's office secured 30 felony indictments from a grand jury. Nearly half allege Sheriff Susan Hudson failed to do her job, while the rest accuse her of trying to cover up crimes connected to the 2025 jailbreak.
And there we have it. So she's trying to cover the crimes up. That's going to point back to her, showing her as a responsible party in this jailbreak, rather than just saying, hey, that was a mix-up. They broke out. Let's catch them, put them back in, fix what needs to be fixed. The reason she did not do that, because there's a lot of dirt in her closet.
Earlier this month, AG Liz Murrell talked to us about related safety, staffing, and financial failures outlined in a report by the legislative auditor.
The auditor's report raises a number of concerns that we've talked about from the very beginning. just the fact that there were not enough people that were certified, post-certified at the jail. There's a large population of violent offenders that are being held in pretrial detention. Many of those already have pre-existing charges or convictions.
Bianca Brown, the sheriff's chief financial officer, faces 20 similar counts. Hudson is a Tulane Law School graduate who spent much of her career in police oversight. Political analyst Joe Responti weighing in on the indictment.
Being a lawyer or being a sheriff of a jail, she's supposed to know these things too. She's supposed to be the person that keeps everybody in, and if they get out, it helps everybody figure out why they got out. And it sounds like maybe she failed on both of those counts, but once again, this indictment didn't tell you a whole lot of facts.
Both Murrell's indictment and the auditor's earlier investigation looked back to 2022 when Hudson took office, focusing on the May 2025 jailbreak. That's when 10 inmates jerked open jail cells that were supposed to be locked, pulled out plumbing, and ran. The auditor finding failures led to the escape. The inmate population increased by nearly 50% from 2022 to 2025, while staff to supervise those inmates only rose 7%.
Believe it or not, this is why the 1A auditing in the cop watch community is so strong at this point. There are so many departments across the country that are undermanned, and an undermanned department breeds very bad cops. It's already bad enough that the academy itself doesn't teach police officers to know the law properly. Now, if you put that on top of being overworked, long hours, becoming disgruntled, that's why we have policing, the way it is in America today, because you have undereducated, overly angry cops on the streets. And again, this happens in several departments across the country where there's not enough cops and they're tired and they're angry and they're mad. And me and you, we have to deal with that whenever we get stopped by the police. This is a serious issue.
Cell block security patrols were skipped about 70% of the time during the week of the jailbreak. The auditor also outlined potential financial and constitutional violations, including over 1,300 allegations of potential payroll fraud. And they uncovered over $1 million in payments to replace cell locks without getting a public bid. Murrell said she agreed with the auditor's findings, and a federal probe could also be in the works.
Denying people the right to the public services that they were entitled to is part of what the federal government can do, but we can also look at that as a state law matter.
If federal charges are added in this case, that would be an entirely new set of charges and indictment. She's currently facing these 30 felony state charges, and she's expected in court at 9 a.m. tomorrow. John?
Jennifer, did the sheriff give any hint that she expected these charges?
Well, we haven't heard directly from her today, but she did give a farewell press conference yesterday. This is the final week of her term as Orleans Parish Sheriff. And she said that we didn't have the whole big picture about the jailbreak in that press conference yesterday, but there's absolutely no indication that she knew she was going to be indicted on 30 felony charges today.
All right, Jennifer Crockett reporting live.
I'm interested to see how many of those 30 charges will actually stick and if there are going to be even more charges added on federally. All those inmates who escaped, 10 of them, they were all captured, but it looks like this sheriff is on her way to being an inmate. These are the people who are in charge of our law enforcement system. They're committing crimes while arresting us for not committing crimes. Make sure you know your rights. Stay safe. That being said, we the people you, signing off.